Discovery in 2004 of specialized neurons in the human brain that are called mirror neurons. That is relatively recent in the study of the human body and in neuroscience to be making a discovery of this magnitude. Scientists thought they pretty much had these cells figured out. They had the functions nailed. The discovery of the mirror neurons showed us something about ourselves that I believe is so underrated and so empowering. So first of all, a mirror neuron is a neuron that fires, it activates, both in response to a direct experience that we have in our lives, and there's nothing new about that, but here's the new part. They also fire when we witness someone else having that experience. In other words, the brain, our brain, does not know the difference between having an experience and watching someone else have that experience. The power of mirror neurons, it's probably beyond what I can even do justice to in this brief conversation, but the bottom line for me, our ancestors understood this. The great teachers of the past and the great healers of the past, when they would demonstrate feats of healing for their students and for the masses that seemed miraculous at the time, what they were doing by demonstrating a healing that was believed to be impossible, for one individual, those who witness it, it frees their mirror neurons to accept that that healing or something like that is possible for them. Remember that the neurons fire both directly from our experience and when we witness the experience. So for me personally, I wanted to see evidence of this. And my very first trip into Tibet, the late 1990s, I chose a very circuitous route through the Himalayas of the Tibetan plateau that would take my group and myself to a cave of an ancient mystic. His name is Milarepa. And there's a whole story behind Milarepa that I can't go into right now, but the bottom line, just in the interest of time, but the bottom line for Milarepa is he would invite the students to come to his cave. He did not go to them. And in the presence of his students, he would perform acts that were believed to be impossible. And when the students witnessed those acts, one of two things had to happen. They either discounted the acts and said, somehow I've been fooled, I've been tricked, or they embraced what they saw and they had to shift their belief system to fit what they had just witnessed. In Milarepa's case, he would walk up to the rock wall of the cave and he would place his hand against that rock. And he would close his eyes and we would go into an altered state and he would just continue pushing his hand as if the rock did not exist. All right? He was telling his students that he was not limited by the rock walls of a cave, that he was not bound by the existence of the stone, that he was free within the confines of the cave. And he didn't do this just once. These hand impressions are all over the inside of this cave, and some of them are maybe this deep, some of them go all the way up to almost my elbow. I placed my hand inside of one that went almost up to my elbow. My fingers just fit perfectly in there. So when science looks at this, they say it's impossible. From a mystical perspective, he changed his consciousness to shift from being separate from the rock to being one with the rock. And if you're one with the rock is no longer a barrier. When his students embraced that possibility for themselves, they were able to accomplish great and miraculous things, healings for themselves, healings for their families, and some of the greatest human potential that we now know is available to us. This is the power of mirror neurons. If you've never heard of mirror neurons, I'm going to invite you to check this out, explore it, and explore what it means to you in your life.